So let me get this straight. A massive franchise reboot, a character people are very emotionally attached to, and you make one of the most controversial casting choices possible. But the only one taking a hit is a black man trying to pay his bills? Excuse me. Now, look, I already talked about the character stuff and how I feel about Black Snape in my last video. That's not what this is about. This video is about what happens after the show drops. Because here's the part people don't want to say out loud, and why I sometimes hate when black people take these roles, these race-swapping roles. They're not being set up to succeed. They're being set up to absorb impact. And I don't like that. Now, let me be clear. I'm not a big fan of the race-swapping epidemic, but I'm not violently opposed to it in fiction either. If the writing is good, I'm there for it. I'm watching. I got my popcorn. No butter, though, working on that summer body. But I'm here looking at this casting, and I'm thinking, these HBO execs look like they're cooking up something. I'm starting to smell a setup here. I'm not saying the actor isn't talented. Papa is a beast. But I'm starting to wonder, is this actual representation or just Hollywood building themselves a pre-packaged scapegoat? Now, we all knew they were already scheming and schemazing when they were shoving people in these positions, but the means were to justify the ends. Now it just seems like creating black punching bags. Now it just seems like you're creating human shields to block mid-writing, confused direction, and lazy storytelling, if that's what it turns out to be for Harry Potter. Because if things go left, guess who the conversation turns to? Not the writers, but you know what? Sometimes it does. Not the showrunners, okay, maybe sometimes a little bit here. Not the people making the real decisions, but sometimes a little bit of a jab here and there. It is nice. But truly, you already know it's the black people taking the blunt force trauma. And that ain't a blunt nobody wants to pass around. So the real question isn't, is Black Snape a good idea? The question is, what happens if this show fails? And more importantly, who takes the fall if and when it does? Now, maybe there's nothing here, but I feel like this isn't new. I'm starting to just a pattern forming, the corporate deflection pattern. We've seen this play before, right? Big franchise, controversial creative choices, internet erupts. And instead of the conversation staying on, is this well written? Does this make sense? Is the story good? What do we get? You cast a black person in a role that was played by a beloved white actor, and then boom, shifts everything. Now it's suddenly, he doesn't look like this. He doesn't act like that. How is he going to be able to be black and this character at the same time? It's incredibly impossible. And even if you try to throw in, okay, yeah, there's that, but what about this other thing? They're like, yeah. But look how black he is, though. He's so dark, the magic casts him. Ridiculous. I don't think the trailer was horrible, mind you, but it wasn't great either. It missed that magic, like the literal magic, but also it was missing a bit of excitement in the trailer itself. I wasn't overly joyed, but it was a teaser, so I was willing to walk away with, we'll see what it is. But all the people could talk about was Snape. That's it. The man was probably on for like a grand total of 3 seconds. To me, this is the great deflection strategy. And it's effective as hell. Because now, instead of people debating the quality of the creators and that alone, they're debating each other. And sure, some people are debating the quality, but it's off the back of Papa Isedu. And like I said, we saw it with big fantasy shows.
You do not mean to act.
Taking caution does not mean standing fast. I wish to know who my allies are before I send them to war.
But hey, they at least saw and they actually loved this show. So it worked out this time. But we've seen it with long-running sci-fi franchises and people did not love it nearly as much. We saw it with certain time-traveling doctors, and myself, I didn't like that era of Doctor Who, but I wasn't blaming Gatwick for it. But it's the same cycle over and over again. Drop something controversial, nothing more controversial than black people in former white spaces. Let the internet fight. No one fights against each other better than white people and black people. Sit back and collect the engagement, the free PR, the free marketing, and you didn't even need an ad budget. You just needed to put up one black soul. Well, one black soul per production, I guess. Now, some people say, along with his death threats and the hate, that, well, he took the job. Mofo, this isn't Nam, it's acting. It's supposed to be fun, not a life or death sentence. But that doesn't matter. When people start crashing out online, who are they making memes about? Who are they sending hate to? I can tell you who it's not, or rather, rarely, more like softball hits to the execs, writers. It's not the people in the boardrooms with their catered lunches, exit plans, and poly market bets that are probably winning while everybody else is losing. It's the actors. It's the actors. Specifically, the black ones. A guy who's just trying to do his job, live his dream, and now he's faced with a war he didn't start. It's almost a win-win for the suits, if you think about it, right? Which, to add insult to injury, these guys, these executives, are white people. These are white guys, and they're using black people as their shields and as their scapegoats. Well, I should stress that mostly these are white women, these are gals, as opposed to majority guys, at least for this specific circumstance. If the show succeeds, they're geniuses. Bold casting choice, fresh take, new era, dope series. If it fails, because there's no mid with this, right? It's pass or fail, and that's it. Studios can shift the blame. They don't have to do anything because the blame is already shipped, actually. They've already pre-cushioned their fall, or at least they eased the tension off of them. They may get a little bit of hate, they will no matter what. But they have their major scapegoat that everybody can, at the end of the day, just start dropping memes about the black guy. Problem solved. On to the next franchise, on to the next show, on to the next piece of crap that they want to release. Until they actually get a hit. And then great, we're geniuses. The media discord stops being about writing on quality. It becomes the fans are bigots, which some of them are. But these bigots should be aimed at the people making the decision. Instead, black people having to run defense for the actors. Which we should, don't get me wrong. And I will continue to do so. But only because people don't know who their real enemy is. I feel like black people are becoming the lightning rod for these things. Every complaint, every meme, every bad faith argument. And I don't want to say this is in every single medium. There are going to be mediums where people are genuinely trying to put in diversity, genuinely trying to change things up, modernize. But now the playbook is just starting to get played out. I want to say all of this started with Finn in a way, and he wasn't even a race swap. He was just a guy who got the role. And they still came for his throat. All roads lead back to black. Hell, I'm even seeing them talking crap about the Zendaya movie. I don't know if that's based on any other, like, currently white media piece. But people are going after her for that. She just made a movie. Doesn't even matter anymore. They're just going after her anyways. I'm not even a Zendaya fan. What is happening right now? The actors all become the face of the failures. Actually, for Finn's case, the only reason he probably wasn't at least more in the face of the failures of Star Wars was because, one, this was sort of at the beginning of this whole cultural warfare that we got going on here. And two, there was also a woman involved, so that helped a lot too. But that's the scapegoat strategy. They put us in the line of fire so they don't have to admit they ran out of original ideas and decided to change things with black people leading the charge just to see what happens. And this is why I'm looking at this sideways, because this isn't just about one character. This is about the Hollywood execs, HBO execs, whatever you want to call them, handling media and IPs these days. They just don't really seem to be doing it well. Now, that doesn't mean they can't do it well, and it doesn't mean that just because a black person or a woman or any minority is in something, or there are less white people, or there are white people in something, that's automatically going to do well or do bad. It's just going to be what it is. And I wish people would recognize that. And this is from someone who doesn't care if they reboot things and race swap people. But the motive, I'm starting to question. I already knew it wasn't the greatest motive, but at least enough of it was there. But it seems like they're not creating a situation where which they're protecting their actors. You know what I mean? This is just high-level, premium, multi-million-dollar rage bait. I'm talking full meeting room energy. All right, team, how do we get people talking? And someone in the back says, hey, what if we put some black people in it? In fact, what if we put one black person in it? In this spot, specifically. Yeah, that'll do. Ultimately, I do hope this series does great. I really do. I want Papa to kill it so hard that we forget that he isn't the guy from the book. But I want it to succeed on its own merit, on the writing, on the direction, on that stuff. Or fail on that stuff. Which has nothing to do with whatever minority they put into it. You know, because I'm looking right now at the setup here. I don't want representation if it's just being used as a tactical distraction from mid-tier filmmaking because the setup feels very familiar. So when this drops, don't watch the show, watch the conversation around it, watch where the blame goes, watch who gets protected and who gets exposed. Because at the end of the day, this was never about Snape. This is about the game behind the scenes, to be honest. But hey, maybe I'm crazy. This is starting to sound like a conspiracy even. But what do you think? Who do you think is getting blamed for here the most? Not just a little bit. Talking about the most blame and the most insults, the most hate. Because everybody's getting a little bit. Like I said, the writers a little bit are getting it as well. The execs, the people behind it, the direction, all of that is still getting slammed. But not nearly as hard, not nearly as much. Let me know what you think. Am I going crazy, or do you think Hollywood is playing chess with controversies? Or maybe it's both. Maybe it is good representation, genuine representation, and a brilliant marketing strategy all wrapped into one. And that's it for the video. If you enjoyed, you'll love the next one coming up. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, and share this out.